I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted, and then you get a pay cut with it. So I just want to
hold on to your seats. Something pretty unexpected went down in Washington today. Against all expectations, a moment of plain real-world logic surfaced during a congressional hearing and completely upended the usual talking points. You know the type of question I mean? The kind that sounds brilliant in theory, but makes anyone who actually runs a business, pays employees, or writes checks for taxes cringe. Fine, that was the moment. Representative Ilhan Omar posed a question that might have sounded clever on paper, but it quickly unraveled when it met someone who actually deals with money, work, and responsibility outside of political theory. This time she wasn't facing a well-rehearsed official or a political echo chamber. She came face to face with someone who knows firsthand how the real world operates. And let's just say, it did not go according to plan. Not even close.
Neil, I'm just wondering, are there, I was a union member for a long time, and I've also gotten an opportunity to work in the private sector. And I'm curious to know if you know of any employer that has a provision where they decrease pay for employees. I find that a little strange, and so I just wanted to know where that thought comes from, and if you know where an employee gets their pay decreased.
Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I was a business owner. I recently sold my share, so I don't own it anymore, but there are plenty of businesses out there, especially those that depend on employees' productivity, like I was in the trades. So I owned a company that was a tile setting company, and if we didn't get out there and do the work, and if I didn't have highly productive employees, they were paid based on their productivity. So if they had issues, it is very possible that their pay would reflect those issues. If they were on probation for something, for some sort of violation, that could be coordinated with a pay reduction. It's something that businesses do all the time, and it could be the step before someone is actually fired. So it's an important thing, and it gets people's attention, when they see it in their paycheck that their performance does not meet the standard.
Representative Omar.
Hudson, I think did you have something?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Hudson? Was there a question for Mr. Hudson?
No, I think he was saying that he wanted to add something, so I didn't know if he had something to add.
Mr. Hudson, is there a response to the question? Do you have a response to that question?
Madam Chair, yes, ma'am.
Are you saying that you aren't aware of any businesses that decrease pay? Because that was the question.
Madam Chair, I think what Chair O'Neill perhaps could be referring to, there are some instances where the pay structure is different. So for an example, she had indicated that she had come out of the towel industry. I'm not sure if these were commissioned employees who may have been on like an 80-20 split. In that instance, there is a situation where a pay might be reduced. Or if we have a supervisor who perhaps had a performance improvement issue or a behavioral concern, and we demoted this supervisor, that is an instance where pay might be decreased. But just an employee who has not been under some sort of performance improvement program, having their pay reduced, I've never heard of that.
Well, Mr. Hudson, I think Representative Neal knows exactly what she says. And I think we've had a little conversation back here when the question was asked. I know Representative Uglem, do you want to speak to that point?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Omar, if you happen to be a salesman in this world, and you can be selling cars, you could be selling siding, you could be selling just about anything, and you are paid on commission. So if you don't sell anything, you don't make anything. So you can have good years, you can have bad years. Probably really one of the best examples is a real estate agent. So it's the idea that people can make less money year to year, not to mention all the bonus situations that are out there in industry. It happens. It happens a lot. It doesn't necessarily happen, here in the public sector, but it's pervasive and very, very common in the private sector. Thank you.
And I'd like to add that in the private sector as well, people, if they are not performing at their job, get demoted, and with that demotion comes a pay cut. And that's not even related to being in a commission position, that's just in a regular position as well. Representative Omar.
I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted, and then you get a pay cut with it. So
Here's how it unfolded. From the comfort of a taxpayer-funded salary, Ilhan Omar asked what she apparently thought was a clever gotcha. She said she found it odd that an employer would ever lower an employee's pay. Pause for a second. Odd, as if effort, results, and accountability were completely foreign concepts. The reaction in the room said it all. Anyone who spent time outside government offices, whether in trades, retail, construction, small business, or commission-based work, knows this isn't odd at all. It's normal. It's how real jobs work. That's when the conversation took a sharp turn. A pro-Trump, business-minded lawmaker stepped in and calmly laid out a concept that seems to short-circuit progressive assumptions. Pay is tied to performance. When output drops, pay can drop. When rules are broken, demotions happen, or someone lands on probation, their paycheck reflects it, not out of cruelty, but because businesses exist to operate on, not to hand out automatic rewards. They survive on productivity, not good intentions. Omar tried to steer the conversation back, suggesting this only applies to commission-based roles, as if demotions never happen, as if managers never lose rank or pay, as if millions of Americans don't work in environments where results directly determine income. Another representative simplified it even further. Sales, real estate, auto dealerships, produce more, earn more, produce nothing, earn nothing. On incentives, merit, capitalism, ironically the very system that enabled Omar to build a career and political platform in this country. Yet instead of acknowledging reality, she pressed on, treating the concept as abnormal or unfair. That's when the truth became unavoidable. This wasn't confusion, it was ideology, a mindset where rewards are automatic, effort is optional, and accountability is treated as an insult. The Trump-supporting lawmaker never raised her voice or resorted to insults. She didn't need to. Facts, experience, and basic economics did all the work. That's why the exchange was so one-sided. Reality doesn't need a rebuttal. What began as a smug attempt to lecture ended as a basic lesson in how the economy actually functions. For millions of Americans who earn their living through value, not titles or talking points, this wasn't surprising. They know raises aren't guaranteed. Promotions aren't automatic. Paychecks come from contribution. It's not entitlement. The real issue isn't that the question flopped. It's that someone so removed from the realities of everyday work still wields power to shape policies for people who don't have the luxury of living detached from reality.